The Secret Garden is a children's picture book written by Frances Hodgson Burnett and illustrated by Adelina Lyris. The story takes place in England, where a young orphaned girl named Mary has been sent to live in an estate called Misselthwaite Manor. The story depicts Mary being very upset and reluctant to accept her new life at the manor. Her feelings brighten when she soon makes friends with a little red robin and soon discovers a secret garden that is hidden amongst the walls of the manor. Mary is determined to restore the garden back to life, and with the help of her friends the robin, a young man named Dickinson, and a lonely sick boy named Colin, they bring back the garden to its former glory, while at the same time healing Colin from his sickness, leaving the three friends to wonder about the magic that the garden may inhibit. The book is a great read for students in years 4 to 6, as it is easy for students to read and follow, while still presenting some challenging vocabulary and comprehension, allowing them to develop their skills. The book also contains brilliant illustrations which assist the student in understanding the story, as well as keeping them interested and engaged. Parallelism can also be seen throughout the story between the characters Mary, Colin, and the garden. The transformation with Mary going from sad, down, to rosy-cheeked and cheerful, as well as Colin becoming healed, directly aligns with the return to life of the secret garden. The author incorporates personification by the garden being personified to being alive. We can see this throughout certain stages, such as when Mary first discovers the garden. She asks herself if the garden is dead or just sleeping. Similes can also be seen throughout the book, in particular when Mary compares Colin to the secret garden. This is depicted in the phrase, "She thought he was a bit like the garden. He'd been locked up and left alone for too long." Another example is when Mary first walks into the garden. The author emphasises how badly run down the garden is through the phrase, "Years of fallen leaves covered the ground like a grey blanket." The illustrator Adelina Lyris has incorporated various visual features that put emphasis on particular points throughout the book and assist the reader in imagining and visualising what is taking place in the story. The illustrator has carefully incorporated body language and gaze within the illustrations and is able to convey Mary's attitude and feelings toward living at the manor, from being upset, gloomy and down, to being happy, cheerful and purpose-driven after she discovers the garden. Mary goes from having a grumpy expression on her face, being cross-armed and droopy, to lifting her facial expressions, including her eyes, moving her body freely, and spreading her arms. Lyris has also used composition, contrast, and a various selection of colour, hue and tone to change the reader's perspective of the characters, such as Mary and Colin, as well as to show the progression of the garden and the positive effect it is having on the characters in the story. She has also carefully designed the layout of the illustrations to appropriately complement the text. This allows for the salience of the page to be directed to what the text is talking about. For example, the text where the author writes about Colin's health improvement, the illustrator has purposely drawn the Colin directly below the text and designed the page so that the reader is drawn to focus on Colin. Overall, The Secret Garden is a brilliant book that students in years 4 to 7 can easily find an enjoyable read. It also contains great examples of both language and visual features which teachers can take advantage of when wanting to teach these skills within their classroom.